Okay, at this point in time, you should have your environment set up correctly. Now we're going to go ahead and start working on the graphic user interface, or GUI. Just to give you guys a few examples, Python has a number of libraries to create a GUI. The project we're going to be using uses Kiwi, these are the different functions and features of Kiwi. Another one is PyQt, which comes featured with a actual Qt designer, which allows you to drag and drop functions that you want it to look like. So let's go ahead and launch our IDE and copy down this code. Notice I do have the completed code to the left, but do your best not to cheat. I'll be walking through each step. Just to give an example of what each of these things are, these are our libraries that we need. So from Kiwi we import our app, our builder, buttons, pop-ups. Those are all widgets involved with Kiwi. Then we have our database, which will be SQLite. Another widget, which is our async image. And then we have an error property for SQLite. And then finally the web browser and OS to actually run commands on the machine itself. And then this is the start of our GUI builder. We have our class root widget here, which inherits a box layout. Then we have an orientation of horizontal, padding of 10, and then a spacing of 10. And if we go back to our console here, and if we run our command, this is what we get. Not much to look at, right? Well, let's go ahead and fix that. Go ahead and take the next portion here. Python is very picky about its spacing, so make sure you have the spacing correct when you write everything down. Okay, now that we have that going, let's see what our thing looks like here. Alright, we actually have some input boxes and images. It's just a feature of Kiwi, but notice how when we're adding actual widgets, we start building bottom up. For our layout, we're using a box layout. The first widget we're adding is the label one, then it's text input, and then we repeat again, label, text input, label, text input. And we can see where each one aligns to. Notice we have name here. That's our name input, and then text input. Name, web link, we have the URL there, and then we have the image name as well. So if you want to mess around with the names, feel free to do so by modifying one of the properties. Now we're going to add our second row. I'm going to close this out. It's going to be another box layout. Instead, we'll be adding our buttons. Alright, let's execute this and see what we get. So notice how the buttons added directly beside our inputs. This is a feature of Kiwi. We can modify it, and I'll show you how. Let's go ahead and close this out. This orientation tag here, see how it's set to horizontal? This is basically saying every layout that we add, we're going to add it side by side. In order to fix that, we're going to change this to vertical. Save that. Now let's go ahead and execute again. All better now, right? Next section we're going to add is going to be our scroll view. The reason we are using a scroll view is because if we were to add objects, there comes a point in time where the screen reaches its end. And the scroll view allows us to actually scroll and keep going further, even if it's off the widget layout screen. Now go ahead and add our scroll view here. Again, make sure you keep your spacing in mind, because if you are off, then it will error out. And notice in our scroll view we have a grid layout. The scroll view itself doesn't have inputs for other widgets, so we use grid layout to keep everything uniform when we're adding our actual content to the screen. Now we'll go ahead and save this, and let's see where our app is at. And there we go. We're already at the starting phase. If I were to separate the job function out from this project, I would say this beginning part would be the job of a UX designer, which is tasked with creating a simple, user-friendly GUI that allows customers to interact with it and not have any confusion when actually using the features and functions. The next part we're going to do is going to be doing work on the actual backend, as far as taking in user input and then figuring out what to do with it.